All right, so welcome back to the Crimson Metal Show here on KXOU. I am your host, Glenn Flansburgh, here as always with my compatriot and fellow metalhead, Evan Taylor.
I am here, but we also have someone else here.
We do. We have the legendary Lips of Anvil.
Legendary.
Yes. Legendary.
Absolutely.
So, Lips, how's the tour going?
It's going good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah, having a great time.
Getting lots of sleep?
No. Well, whatever. I don't sleep in the 6 hours at the hotel room.
Yeah.
I do it in the van on the way to the gig.
So, Lips, everybody has probably knows about Anvil because of this little
movie.
This little film they did about, has it been about, 8-9 years ago now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has that doc, how do you feel that doc has helped your career?
I had a career before the movie.
Right.
I'd done 12 albums at that point. It's not like we were nobodies.
Right, but
we had a quite a contingency of fans in Europe and great record companies that were willing to pay for the records to get recorded.
Mm-hmm.
But along came an old friend that we met back in 1982 in London, England at the Marquee Club. That little 13-year-old, 14-year-old kid that grew up to be a screenwriter for Steven Spielberg. He comes back into my life in around 2005, contacts me on the internet because he missed us, you know. Said, let's make a movie. It changed everything.
Yeah.
It changed everything.
Making movies is fun.
Yeah, I mean, you try to continue on. We were continuing on doing what we were doing with no North American success, really.
Right.
That's not to say that it's anybody's fault. It's the way that the business kind of screwed us over.
Do you feel that the metal industry has declined in North America?
Oh yeah,
the last 20
there
years?
isn't really.
Right.
There isn't really. What do you got? Metallica.
Mm-hmm.
And
Megadeth.
Yeah,
I mean, they just won a Grammy here finally.
Yeah,
so.
Finally. It only took them
16 times, I think they said they got nominated, and they finally got one.
Yeah.
So.
And even after all that time, what do they get to walk down to the stage to?
Yeah, they play Metallica as they walk down to the stage.
Yeah.
What a slap in the face.
Hey, I really am so congratulative to Dave.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves it, man.
Oh, absolutely.
He's worked at least, if not harder than I have. To get any success is a miracle.
Right.
So, good for him, man. Looked good on him. Great.
Well, what do you think? What do you think is wrong? What do you think is lacking here in North America in the metal scene? Culture. And is that as opposed? Because having experience in Europe, and I know the bands that we talk about there being a difference. And what is the difference between the fans?
The major difference is metal is a way of life in Europe. Metal is a trend in North America. That's not the same thing.
It was kind of king during the
80s.
And
the other aspect about America is one band makes it on a sound and 1,001 copy it. Very little initiative made in trying to create something fresh and new. It's usually copied from somewhere else. It's not really an original thing going. And I'm not. That's not. It's just an observation and an opinion. Certainly there are exceptions, and where those exceptions lie and where they happen, those are the bands that make it. If you'll notice.
Now, what about bands like some of your fellow countrymen, like Nickelback, where they've achieved a sound, and I feel like
what they did is they stole Metallica.
Okay.
and they hate us, which makes no sense whatsoever because Metallica copied us, so they copied Metallica, but they don't like where they copied it from.
Now,
I don't know.
Now, back in Toronto area, do you play a lot of local shows there and everything? Do you play a lot of shows with other huge successful bands from your area, like say like Helix? Do you ever give a
No,
Helix?
never. I don't think I've ever played a show with Helix, to tell you the truth. Not in Canada.
Not in Canada.
We did a Sweden rock cruise and they were on it. But other than that, no.
Because they're from right in the and they're from
yeah,
Ontario, right?
We're all friends. We
Yeah,
all know
yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
There's no issue with that. Just recently, we were in discussion with the guy from Annihilator, Jeff Waters, about putting together an all-Canadian,
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to ask.
Canadian metal
Like a festival.
festival, to have it tour around. It's a great idea in theory, but it's really hard to coordinate. You know, my schedule is over the top.
Well, maybe a one-off show type of thing would be doable.
I don't know. I'd like to do it. We really would love to do it, but it's about timing and the other bands and their timing and when their records come out and all that. It's how do you do it?
Yeah, we often talk with locals and some of our nationals about how time, just where efforts go in, and curious about where do you see the live show, where does that really fit into the process, when you fit into the albums and some of the other promotion? I mean, what is the place of the live show, do you think, for Anvil?
Live shows are really how you get it, move forward in a career. If you don't play live, you're dead in the water. Anybody can record a record. If you don't play live, it doesn't mean anything.
So is that your favorite aspect of
Absolutely, and it has been all along.
Do you
We're a
think
live band, that's what we're about.
do you think that remains the main vehicle for bands to show their music, is the live show? Or has that changed at all? I guess my question.
Well,
we're always curious.
for me, because I'm in a brand name. I got a brand name. I'm a very, very lucky and fortunate man, and what the movie did has made it possible for me to never look back and go do deliveries like I was doing during the movie.
Right.
I've been on the road consistently for the last 8 years since the movie came out. I haven't done any hard lifting or hard work since.
So,
This is my life. This is what I should have been doing all along. But what the difference is, because of the movie, it opened up the opportunity to come to the United States, which didn't really happen until recently. Imagine doing all these years in this business, and the first time I ever played Oklahoma City was last night. Right? That's pretty 40 years. Finally getting to do this side of the world. That's a big deal, really big deal. I'm very grateful for it.
now in the movie, you're trying to raise money so that you can get some CDs printed up.
Right.
Do you feel that CDs is still a viable medium these days?
Yeah,
how do you feel
it
the
is to a
digital?
certain degree. It is to a certain degree. There's no stores. No one's really buying. But having said that, in the metal genre, which is a very special thing,
Right.
people like to have the physical copy. If it's the collecting aspect.
Well, we talk about that often too, where the issue is if you look back in time and think about when you have someone who's going into a record store, how do you select the metal you're going to buy? Because usually it's kind of hard to come by to hear it. So you're looking at the artwork, you're looking at the packaging, you're looking at the name.
Well, then the old
And,
days, that's
you know,
what it
that's
all
how
was.
it was.
How do you know what to buy? You looked at the cover.
Yeah, and it was
Now-
it was an investment. You had $10. You buy record A or record B.
And it was valued.
yes.
You valued it because
Yep.
you paid for it.
Yep.
You remove the money factor and you make music free, there's no value.
That's right.
Now, what you only value is T-shirts.
Well, we said that was one of the things. You spend your money, you buy that album, and that may be the only album you buy in a month, a few weeks. You're going to listen to that album, you're going to get to know that album, and you're going to get to know the music, and maybe even start to like the music. Maybe if you didn't feel that way in the beginning.
But if you didn't pay for it, you're not going to be.
No.
You're going to go to
next.
YouTube, hit go, listen to it once. Next.
Yeah, exactly. That's my.
Never
that's my
give it
argument.
really the chance to sink in so that you can actually find out whether you really do like it. It's really easy to write things off. It's all disposable, all of it. That's a very, very sad aspect.
So do you feel that the digital market has gained more Anvil fans, or do you think that it's kind of been a bad thing?
I still say that. Luckily for me, because of that movie, it made people want to come see the band.
Right.
That means that now I'm a commodity that clubs are willing to pay. Now I'm working. But until that happened, how are you going to make that happen? You're not going to get radio play to have a single, right? How are you going to get known big enough so that you can draw anybody?
Well, that's the question. I mean, there's a lot of bands that are asking, how do you do that? How do you bring in new sounds?
A new band of today is shit out of luck.
Well, and it's one of the things you brought up earlier. You talked about where are these new and unique sounds? Why do we have copycat sounds? I mean, how do you think the system would have to change so that these new and innovative sounds could come in?
That's
the question,
That's
isn't
the
it?
$64 million
Yeah.
question, isn't it?
It is, and it's the one. It's one of the most
Well, but
fascinating
it's like
things.
I always say. People go, what would you tell a young band? What I tell young bands, you've got to create a sound that no one else can do but you. And if you do that, you've got a crack. You've actually got a chance, because that's the only chance. If you sound like everything else, then when somebody goes on YouTube and hits it, they go, But if you got something that's unique, you go, what's that? Wow. Let me listen to it again. That's what the difference is.
Absolutely.
All right. So that's about all the time we have. Thank you, Lips.
Thank you, man.
For all our listeners out there, where can they find more about Anvil?
Well, we have a great Facebook page. Just look up Anvil on there, and most of the information goes through there. These days, that's the way it doesn't even it almost doesn't make sense to have a website anymore.
All
You
right.
need a place where everybody kind of goes. You know what I mean? And that's what Facebook has become. So.
Okay. All right, well, that's it for the Crimson Metal Show. This was Lips from Anvil, and we look forward to seeing your set later. It's been a true honor and
Thank you.
a pleasure. And let me tell you, I'm really, really looking forward to it. Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Lips.
thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Man. Awesome.